This is a quick video because about the vaccine distribution. I don't want the vaccine. I've said it a million times, but I know a lot of people do. And it seems like a lot of people haven't understood when I said before that teachers weren't even allowed to get the vaccine in some places, even still, but up till now when schools are opening up. I had a lot of people attacking me on Twitter like I was stupid. And I was like, first of all, everything happened by state. And I'm sitting here hearing on the news that, oh yeah, they're going to start letting teachers get vaccinated this week, which may be, Rhode Island, because I watch the Rhode Island news because of where I live. I live in Massachusetts, but we're closer to Providence than Boston. So, then last night, Marvin Hagler died, who, being from Brockton, he was a big deal when I was a kid growing up. Somehow I'm sure I watched that boxing match, even though I was a little kid. And, when I saw his name trending, I'm like, oh no, because, that's not somebody who would trend out of nowhere unless something went wrong. And then it started saying that one of his rivals, I guess they became friends, Tommy Hitman Hearns, said on his Instagram, I guess right before, that he was in ICU, because he had just got the vaccine. So like vaccine side effects or something like that. But then later on, the wife said he died at home. I don't know. But previously, Hank Aaron, another sports legend, had passed away very shortly after getting the vaccine. I'm not saying either person died of vaccine. I'm not being one of those people. But if people are dying from the vaccine, we need to know that. I did look it up. There was a Newsweek article saying that, something like 900 something people died shortly after getting the vaccine. Again, nobody is saying it's because of the vaccine, because you don't have that information. But as I'm looking here this morning, I'll go on Twitter, just a tweet popped up from one of the British newspapers saying that one of their murderers who killed children got the vaccine in jail. And I couldn't help laughing because there's people losing their minds over here trying to get the vaccine. And over there in England, serial killers are getting the vaccine in jail. So I'm very confused because in terms of people getting the vaccine, what also bothers me is another news story this morning said that locally this week they're going to have nursing students administer the vaccine at the Dartmouth Council on Aging. Now, where I live in New Bedford, Dartmouth and New Bedford are right up against each other. My mother actually used to work at the Dartmouth Council on Aging. It's just basically a room. Just like any, senior center is basically a room, and they have bathrooms and stuff, and maybe a kitchen for them to do, I know they have a kitchen for them to do things like that in a little shop. But that's not a medical facility. And from the beginning, I remember in the very beginning of the distribution in Massachusetts, doctors in Boston, pretty much the medical hub of this country with all the schools and everything up there, Boston is like the place for medical care, medical study, all that stuff. So in Boston, the doctors were complaining that they didn't have enough vaccines for their patients. They couldn't schedule appointments with their patients because Massachusetts was hoarding all the vaccines for Gillette Stadium, a sports stadium in the middle of nowhere. Like I said, I don't know if there was a nearby hospital to Gillette Stadium, because honestly, I've never been there. I don't have the money to go there. I don't have the transportation to get my butt there. So I've never gone to Gillette Stadium. I don't know. There could be a hospital across the street, But I said to myself, where's the sense? You have a brand new vaccine that people could have allergic reactions anytime to anything. There could be side effects. There could be anything. Where's the sense in having everybody go to a stadium to get vaccines to the point where there's not enough for doctors in a completely medical setting where if something went wrong, they could be handled immediately? And the whole thing never made sense to me. All across the country, I guess the NFL made a deal. This is what I'm saying. Why would government say, okay, let's do all our vaccinating in football stadiums? But that's what they did. And now, like I said, here they're going to be giving vaccines out at a senior center with nursing students. I don't know if the doctors have had the vaccine here. I don't know what the deal is. But this seems like the least safe. And I'm not picking on the kids, but they're not nurses. They're not in a hospital setting. All kinds of shit could go wrong. Why would they why are they handling this like this? You know, and like I said, there may be people who have died from side effects of the vaccine. Remember, these vaccines were not tested over years. These things were pushed out very quickly. And anybody with half a brain would understand that because of the demand, because of the panic about this disease, that a lot of people in general kind of didn't agree to, but agreed to allowing the vaccine to be tested on the people who get it, because it's so new, nobody knows, people still don't even understand the disease, that the first batch, the first year, the first time this happens, we're going to find out a year from now the statistics on what went wrong, if anything went wrong, if there were side effects. So basically every single person who gets this vaccine, everybody is a guinea pig, because like I said, you don't know. I mean, even normal vaccines cause problems, but the fact that they're doing this in such a haphazard way, I'm saying the idea of nursing students administering a vaccine to seniors in a senior center, like I said, which is basically a room, you know, I don't know what these places were before, but if you look at them, I don't want to call them a barn. You know what I mean? They're almost like I said, just a big room, like a big gym, like a school gym, and, you know, with tables and stuff in it so that seniors can be there. They're not, and in this case, they're not that far from the hospital, but still, it's an ambulance ride. So to do these things in this way, do them at sports stadiums. I mean, the other one I know of in New Bedford that I kept passing in the parking lot. So having these things in parking lots at sports stadiums, instead of just just having the doctors administer them, I don't get it, because I really don't. I feel like the doctors would have done it faster than now. They would have got to the people who really needed it. They would have said, okay, this patient has these things. They need it before, you know, that person over there. Because a few weeks ago, I was at the bus stop, and this guy was saying to me that he already got one shot. And I was looking at him. He was relatively my age. He was skinny. Or he could have been younger than me, like 30s, 40s. But he also seemed to be, you know, to be somebody who maybe seemed like he may be a drug type person, like he may have had a drug issue. I mean, you can tell when you're around people for a certain time. So it's just like, is that a comorbidity? Is that a high risk thing? Is it because I don't know that he was homeless? But so it's just like these weird criteria for who goes first and stuff like that. And just to think all the people in this country who are desperate. I mean, the South Park vaccination special is just beautiful. It was amazing. I tried to react to it. Of course, I did something wrong. You know, the sound wasn't on it. So, but I watched it twice. It was just absolutely amazing. And you see how desperate people are insane to get that vaccine, you know. So to think that we're over here like this, and in England, their serial killers have gotten it already. It's just, the whole thing is ridiculous. And they're not going to give us statistics on if there are people who are, you know, being adversely affected. We won't get that until way later on, until they're done getting people to get it so they can have their statistics that they want, because there's statistics that they want and statistics that they don't want, and there's the ones they'll share with us and the ones we got to dig for. But I'm curious as to who thinks that this was a good idea. Who thought that distributing things in senior centers with nursing students, or in parking lots and sports stadiums, was better than just going to your doctor? I don't get that. If it's not important enough, maybe if it's not important enough for a doctor visit, for whatever you charge to the health insurance or whatever, then maybe it's not that important. I swear the doctors would have done a better job anyway. And like I said, if anything went wrong, you're right there at the hospital. You're right there, at least at some kind of medical facility with people who've been doing it for a while, and they're not nursing students. I can't, with the amount of risk involved in a new vaccine and a new disease, for people to be doing these things in the middle of nowhere, it seems like a joke sometimes. It seems like a really bad joke. And you would laugh if you didn't know that people were potentially being harmed. I'm just too out of step with everything sometimes, I think. So I don't know.